let me see. It says here that you are one of those English... I'll ad-lib this here. Right. You're one of those Englishmen who has happened upon the pop scene and just captured the hearts and minds of nearly all of the audiences that have heard him. Isn't that wonderful?
Wow, yeah.
Did you know that?
I'm quite a guy.
Yeah.
David Bowie went on a 3-week promotional tour of the United States for his album, The Man Who Sold the World, in 1971. The experience would have a profound impact on his career. He had 3 albums behind him, none of which gained much attention, and he was feeling the pressure, primarily because up to this point, he had experimented with numerous musical styles, none of which truly suited him, while working to satisfy record executives. But all that was about to change. Here he is in an interview on that trip discussing the reason behind his name change.
It says also that I'm reading this bio here because I just received it here, and some interesting things about you here. Did you know this, that your name was David Robert Jones, but that Davy Jones of the Monkees claimed the name, and you became David Bowie. Where did you get that name? You just picked it up.
Well, from the town, from the person, and it just sounded nice. It's Scottish as well, and there was a knife involved, and it just sounded good.
Well, Elton John, I was wondering if Elton John was here and referred to you as David Bowie, and we call you David Bowie, and I think it is really Bowie.
Well, I call it Bowie, but
it doesn't matter. I really think you're the authority on that, you know.
Call Elton John if you like.
Yeah, well, Elton John is Reg Dwight, so what does he know, you know?
I didn't know that.
You didn't?
No.
Yeah, his real name is Reginald Dwight, and he changed it to... Well, all right. Tell me you're really Bernie Taupin, and then we'll get on with it. We're going to play your Space Oddity track. I'd like you to maybe pick out a few songs that you like from different albums, and maybe... All right.
After the 3-week tour, he went back to his home at Haddon Hall, a huge Victorian mansion he rented for around £14 a week, and began writing what would be material for his Hunky Dory and Ziggy Stardust albums. Bowie later said that the Hunky Dory album reflected my newfound enthusiasm for this new continent that had been opened up to me. The trip inspired him to write tribute songs for 3 American icons, Andy Warhol, Bob Dylan, and the Velvet Underground's Lou Reed. One of the songs written during this period is Changes, appearing on his Hunky Dory album in 1971, and later became a single in 1972, but it failed to gather much recognition initially.
Myself and my mates, and I guess a certain contingent of the musicians in London at the beginning of the 70s were fed up with denim and the hippies, and I think we kind of wanted to go somewhere else, and some of us, I think that us more pompous arty ones probably read too much George Steiner and kind of got the idea that we were entering to this kind of post-culture age, and that we better do something postmodernist quickly before somebody else did.
Changes was recorded sometime between June and July with keyboardist Rick Wakeman and the musicians who would later become known as the Spiders from Mars. Wakeman, a noted session musician at this point, played mellotron on Bowie's Space Oddity. He recalled in 1995 that he met with Bowie in June 1971 at Haddon Hall, where Bowie played him demos of Changes and Life on Mars in their raw brilliance. Wakeman recalled, "He played the finest selection of songs I've ever heard in one sitting of my entire life. I couldn't wait to get into the studio and record them." The house was very theatrical and grand, Jeff McCormick, David Bowie's old school friend, said. That created a certain energy to the creativity. This huge staircase with balconies on each side, it was the perfect venue to have big ideas in. The lyrics of Changes has Bowie focusing on his need for artistic reinvention while distancing himself from the mainstream. Bowie was about to embark on his most radical transformation yet, leading to Ziggy Stardust and the glam rock niche. His line, "Look out, you rock and rollers," serves as a declaration. He wasn't about to conform to mainstream rock norms, with the warning that something new was emerging from within himself and within the broader rock music landscape.
But I think we brought a lot of our aesthetic sensibilities to it, in terms of that we wanted to manufacture a new kind of vocabulary, a new kind of currency. And so the so-called gender bending, the picking up of maybe aspects of the avant-garde and aspects of, for me personally, things like the kabuki theatre in Japan, and German expressionist movies, and poetry by Baudelaire, and God, it's so long ago now. It was a pudding, you know. It really was a pudding. It was a pudding of new ideas. And we were terribly excited, and I think we took it on our shoulders that we were creating the 21st century in 1971. That was the idea. And we wanted to just blast everything in the past, rather like the Vorticists did at the beginning of the century in Britain, or the Dadaists did in Europe. You know, it was the same sensibility of everything is rubbish and all rubbish is wonderful.
The lyrics are thought-provoking and autobiographical as the narrator looks at himself through a mirror to help find his true identity. Biographer Nicholas Pegg identifies the line, "I turn myself to face me," as mirroring Bowie's encounter with himself. Biographer James Perrone argues that the lyrics serve as a public acknowledgement that his earlier styles, all of which failed to earn him much success, were not the true David Bowie style. When Bowie sings "Don't Want to Be a Richer Man," expressing that he is more interested in artistic growth than the conventional path, this instinct ironically led to his breakthrough success.
So I turn myself to face me, but I've never caught a glimpse.
Did you see the gender stuff as being a statement about postmodernism or a statement about sexuality?
Well, neither. I think they were just devices to create this new distancing from the subject matter. There was a kind of a diffidence, an idea that really hadn't been thought of before, that the history of rock could be recycled in a different way and brought back into focus without the luggage that comes along with it. It was a very strong sense of irony. I think it became the foundation of two or three of us. I mean, I'm wary of the word glam because I think that became the all-inclusive term for any bloke with lipstick on, which is fine, you know, and that's what it is when it comes down to the public level. The public, obviously, they take things in a very simplistic fashion, and so they should. That's why we have such wonderful television.
Strange fascination, fascinating me.
David Buckley cites the line, "Turn and face the strange," as a prophetic hello. The phrase "strange fascination" not only embodies a continued quest for the new and bizarre, but also carries with it the notion of having to change to stay afloat artistically. Pegg states that his identification of himself as the faker gives him anxiety.
How the others must see the faker. I'm much too fast to take that test.
The song's chorus, with Bowie stuttering at the beginning of the word "changes," has been compared to The Who's 1965 My Generation, which is an almost aggressive stylistic choice to reinforce the message. Both songs have similar themes in terms of turning away from the past and embracing the new, with similar lyrics, "Hope I die before I get old," versus "Pretty soon now you're gonna get older."
Talking about my generation.
David Bowie chose the famous Aylesbury venue to perform the not yet released Hunky Dory on September 25th, 1971.
There's one in which I don't know the guitar chords, so I'll stand here like a twit, not used to singing without one. They're called Changes. It's another one from the album. Still don't know what I was waiting for, and the time was running wild, million dead-end streets and
A few months later, Bowie and his new band would start rehearsals at the Underhill Rehearsal Studio, South London. The new band would soon be named Spiders, and Ziggy would be there. Hunky Dory features a stylistic shift towards art pop and melodic pop rock, with Changes blending sophisticated music elements with experimental and theatrical qualities. David Bowie's dramatic and expressive singing style in Changes aligns with art pop's emphasis on performance and emotion. Bowie plays a saxophone solo on the final recording, which he recollected was when I was still going through ideas of using melodic saxophone. He later said that the track started out as a parody of a nightclub song, a kind of throwaway. Upon release, like the album, Changes didn't garner much recognition initially, failing to chart in the UK and peaking at 66 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts. Despite very positive reviews from both the British and American music press, the album sold poorly. But then following the success of the rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, recognition was brought upon Hunky Dory and Changes, with sales peaking at number 3 on the UK album charts. Changes quickly became a turntable favorite and embedded itself onto the pop culture psyche. Retrospectively, Hunky Dory has been critically acclaimed as one of Bowie's best works and features on several lists of the greatest albums of all time. It's now considered the album where Bowie starts to become Bowie, definitively discovering his voice and style, in which he prophetically declared his own changes, which would later go on to change the course of music history.
Then I turn myself to face me, but I never caught a glimpse.
Hunky Dory and the song Changes had a profound influence on a wide range of artists. Its theatrical, introspective lyrics and genre-blending approach inspired countless musicians who sought to break away from traditional rock formulas. Many artists embraced Bowie's fusion of rock with theatrical storytelling, while later innovators drew from his fearless approach to reinvention. Changes' messages of transformation and defying expectations continues to resonate, proving that Bowie's vision of perpetual change, when well done, remains a blueprint for artistic longevity. Changes was the final song David performed on stage before his death in 2016. The song is often considered a manifesto of his entire career.
I'm going through